Okay guys, time for our next 300 Blackout video. So our last video, we tested out our new 10.3 inch Ballistic Advantage barrel. It kind of shot okay. It shot okay. But I've got a couple bullets that I want to test in it for supersonics. And today is going to be the first of those. This is the 125 grain Sierra tipped Match King. So this is a flat base bullet. Festive green tip, pretty standard stuff, but it's a Sierra. You guys know I love me some Sierra bullets, so I'm really hoping that maybe this bullet is going to give us those groups that we didn't see in our initial test. So for powders on this dude, I want to shoot the old favorite Winchester 296. Very excellent supersonic powder, excellent velocities. It's hard to beat Winchester 296. The other powder is Alliant Power Pro 300 MP. I haven't shot this powder much. It kind of came to my attention from the Lehigh Defense load data for their 115 grain controlled chaos copper that we tested a little while back. They had load data for 300 MP, showed excellent velocities, so I went ahead and picked up a pound. It did a pretty okay job over in that test, and I want to shoot it again today. Now, these powders have a relationship that I was not aware of at the time of making that last video. There was a lot of talk a couple years ago that these were the same powders. They're apparently made in the same factory and are very similar, but the current consensus seems to be that 300 MP is actually, it is a little bit different, and 300 MP is slightly slower burning than Winchester 296. So I expect similar performance, and it'll be very interesting to watch the velocity differences between the two. And for that reason, I want to shoot the exact same charge weights with these guys. I want to go from 18.3 up to 19.5. Now, these are loads. We might blow our face off. We're actually starting with Sierra's max charge. Sierra on their load data has, max load with H110, which is the same thing as Winchester 296. They show a max charge of 18.3, but that's where we're starting. Couple reasons. I was playing around in quick load with it. We're going to shoot a longer overall length. They don't have the exact 125 tipped Match Kings. They have the 125 Pro Hunter and the standard Match King. They shoot an overall length with the Match King of 2.210. I want to go ahead and stretch these guys out a little bit farther to 2.250. Lower the pressure a touch, give us some room for some more powder, and really hopefully get these guys flying pretty quick. So I would certainly not suggest blindly copying these loads unless you're prepared to blow your face off. For primers, I'm going to use the CCI number 400 primers. There you go. Yep, standard CCI small rifle primers. And for brass, we will be using Gemtech. These are out of the new batch of Gemtech brass that I recently bought. The old converted Lake City that we used for years has been retired, and this is the new guy on the block. So we'll see how that performs. And as you saw, these guys are already primed with their CCI number 400 primers. So we'll be on the range in no time because all we need is powder and seat the bullets. So let's get to that. So I ended up going a little bit too far on my seating die measurement, and I was shooting for 2.250 and ended up at more like 2.247, something like that. Feeling a little bit lazy right now, so I didn't have an open spot in my turret right now, and I was too lazy to make room for my Lee Factory crimp die for 300 Blackout. So we're just going to shoot these with no crimp. Should be fine. We've got a nice seating depth. Tons of contact between that bearing surface and our case neck. So friction should be on our side here, I hope. So this brass is brand new. This is its first firing, but I did go ahead and run these guys through a full-length resizing die and chamfered and deburred the case mouth. So we are going to try a different scope on our 300 Blackout, just to switch up that variable, make sure that a scope problem wasn't causing our previous accuracy issues. All right, there is the last one. So we're ready to rock. Let's get out there. So the day is a little bit dreary, but the sun is peeking out just a touch. It's been very overcast and sprinkling all morning. But I think we might have a window here to try out our 125 grain Sierra tipped Match Kings. We really need a good group or two out of these guys. Build our confidence in our new Ballistic Advantage 10.3 inch barrel, which is what this is. More details about the gun will be down in the description if you need them. So let's get started. This is 18.3 grains of Winchester 296. We are at 100 yards. Okay, a little bit disappointing start. 2,100 feet per second, that's fine. 33.2 feet per second standard deviation is a little gross. We're moving on to 18.6. All right, so it looks like they're trying to group. Just catching one or two that don't want to get with the program. So velocity 2145, we're getting up there with a 10.5 inch barrel. And I've started seeing a little bit of a ejector mark on the brass. So we're going to continue here to 18.9, but this may be the last one we get to shoot. Hallelujah, we finally shot a good group. So the brass looks the same as it did at 18.6. Little ejector mark. And the problem is, you know, this barrel still brand new. This is my first time trying to push it at all. I don't really know what's normal. The velocity actually went down and our standard deviation went up. That's weird. That's really weird. But against my better judgment, we are going to go ahead. I'm going to try 19.2 grains. So the group fell apart a little bit. The velocity picked back up just a touch, but the brass looks exactly the same still. And I'm going to go ahead and finish this off and shoot 19.5. I think we've made a mistake here. It's either the CCI 400 standard small rifle primer instead of CCI 41 or CCI 450 Magnum primer. Might just not be lighting this stuff off well enough, and the result are erratic velocities, crappy standard deviation numbers. Or maybe we've reached the point where now all the powder we add, we're blowing most of it out the barrel because we're just not getting good burn. I don't know, something to think about, but here we go, 19.5 grains. So Winchester 296 was a bit of a dud there. It did give us that one group, so, you know, not going to complain too much. Now I'm worried, we're moving on to Alliant Power Pro 300 MP, and it is very, very similar to Winchester 296. So we might just be in for more of the same. Let's find out. All right, so this is probably going to be more of the same here with 300 MP. And people always ask me, people always bring up like, oh, I wonder how it would have shot without the silencer. So I have popped off my suppressor and we're going to shoot these last 20 shots in loud mode. First up is 18.6 grains. Okay, not a bad start without the suppressor. All right, so that was 2059 with a 26.9. We did lose a little bit of velocity. That very well might have been from removing the suppressor. But so far so good. Let's move on, 18.9 grains. All right, so there's a decent standard deviation number of 6.5. And the group wasn't terrible. So moving on, 19.2, the brass looked fine. All right, so the suppressor's back on. I think we've proven the point that that probably wasn't what was going on or causing our groups to open up. So it's back on. I want to see what sort of velocity we get with it on at 19.5 grains. So let's do it. All right, let's get back to the bench, see what we can make of all this. Okay, let's start out with a quick look at the brass. These first 5 rows are our Winchester 296 loads. Up here's our highest charge. See if we can spot anything interesting. Not a ton. We do have some ejector marks sprinkled here and there. Just some smears, just a little bit of a brass smear and a little circular spot. But definitely nothing crazy. And same thing over here with 300 MP. These guys all kind of look pretty good. Not a lot to see here. All right, guys, I think we're going to have to classify this as another disappointing outing. We did catch 2 groups under an inch. This 0.95 incher here with 18.9 grains of Winchester 296. That's not bad shooting. And then this little guy down here snuck in at a 0.87. That's not terrible either. We had a couple shots that really went off the table. You know, this guy way up here. What the heck was it doing up there? And this guy here, like it was completely on its own program and lost its mind. So more disappointment. So we're going to have another 300 Blackout Super video tomorrow. It's the 125 grain Spear TNT, and we're shooting Vitavori N110 and Lil Gun with that guy. Very similar bullet. I kind of wanted to cover a couple of these supers just to see if maybe we could find some accuracy somewhere. And at least here in this video, we certainly didn't. We did find some freaking velocity though. I was not really expecting to get this high. I thought we might even struggle to get over 2,000. So the velocity was a shock. The standard deviation numbers though were just puke nasty with Winchester 296. A little bit better with 300 MP. With the exception of this guy, which was a 26.9. All of the others, you know, under 20, we had a 6.5 here, so it was a little bit better. But average accuracy at best. Decent, I guess, maybe you could call it. But certainly not good, and definitely not fantastic. Also, one of my supporters over on Patreon, Joe, wanted to see the 135 grain Sierra Varminer. So I picked up a box of these guys. They're 135 grainers. These are pretty wicked looking tip on them. Yeah, look at that beast. Tell me that's not coming to kick some butt. So we're going to test this dude as well. So I think what I'll do, I'll hold my deep thinking until tomorrow, the conclusion of tomorrow's video. Maybe we'll look at today's video and tomorrow's video, try to get some idea of where to go from here, assess the situation as it stands. But for now, I think group review and a general sense of disappointment is all we've really got to work with. All right, so that's enough for today. Like I said, next video will be up tomorrow, 8 a.m. Eastern, and that's this 125 Spear TNT. So if you want to support the channel, check me out at patreon.com/reloading, and I will see you guys next time.